Reggie Miller will be on the call. Tonight's Eastern Conference Finals. Game 1, Heat Celtics tip-off in Boston will be 8:30 Eastern on TNT. We'll get to that coming up. Who was skinnier at age 19? You, Kevin Durant, or Victor Wembanyama?
Wow. I'll rank them in this order. I'll go Victor 1.
Ooh.
Me too. KD 3. I was pretty light. I think I was 172 or 3.
And you're 6'6", 6'7". You're
6'7", 173-ish when the Pacers selected me in '87.
all right. The expectations for Victor Wembanyama should be what? His first year in San Antonio.
Well, look, if they're putting the same expectations they put on LeBron James, who was anointed the chosen one by himself and by Sports Illustrated, Rookie of the Year and the second coming. Look, I've seen all the same highlights and that you have, and this young man looks like he has everything it takes to be the next great one. So I think everything short of a Rookie of the Year, and I think he's going to the perfect franchise if, again, I think San Antonio will make the smart call and draft him number 1. You're going to a system where they're known to highlight the big men. David Robinson, obviously Tim Duncan, and you're next in line. Popovich is one of the greatest NBA coaches we've seen. I think they'll mold him in that right direction. So everything short of a Rookie of the Year, I think, should be on his plate.
But Popovich and like evolving into today's NBA, he's never really embraced the three. Doesn't seem like it's a wide open, fun type of basketball. But I wonder with Wembanyama, do you let him go? Is he going to be a featured guy? Because Pop's pretty conservative.
I think he was conservative. I got to disagree with you a little bit. They played an old school type game when David Robinson was there.
Okay.
And they went through different times. So it was David Robinson. Then they shifted the offense for Tim Duncan. And when Tim Duncan started to get a little bit older, it was Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. So they did kind of switch to the threes and wide open, more space, the passing. And Pop has evolved with the times. It depends on who's going to surround Victor as well. What other players? They got a very young team. But again, I think Pop is the right man. If you want to learn what the NBA is all about, I think Pop is the right answer here.
He's 74.
I know. Age ain't nothing but a number. I mean,
oh no, but the thing is I wonder if they didn't win this lottery, is Pop going to, does he coach longer or is he going to maybe 1 or 2 more years? But now with Victor Wembanyama, you're going to want to stay a little bit longer, I think.
But let's not forget, Pop is coming off a gold medal as well, coaching these younger players and all that. So it's not like he's out of touch. He just won a gold medal in the recent Olympics, and probably he's going to do it again in France coming up. So, I mean, I don't want to focus in on his age. I focus in on what he has done for the game and his ability to coach these younger players.
Yeah, and that's fair. I just wonder, the passion to continue to coach when you get to be 74, and do you look and say, do
I guarantee you this. He woke up this morning feeling 44. He woke up this morning feeling 44 instead of 74.
All right.
After getting that.
How does LeBron feel today waking up after what happened last night?
Well, it's difficult because you have seen and called a lot of playoff games. When you get an opportunity and you're that close to winning a road playoff game, you have to get those games. Again, they put themselves in the hole down 21 as early as the third quarter, and they scratched and clawed their way to get it back. And they had opportunities. LeBron misses 2 of 4 free throws down the stretch. He misses a 3 up top to tie it, and then he gets stripped in the end. So if you're LeBron, you're not feeling great, but you're also optimistic. We were this close to getting game 1. We have another opportunity to, steal home court advantage in game 2. They made some minor adjustments in terms of their coverage on Jokic, putting Rui on him as opposed to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis became the roamer and the rim protector, which helped. So let's see if that factors in game 2.
But I wonder, and we talked to Scott Hastings in the first hour, the Nuggets broadcaster, and he said, if I was going to change up the defense and bring in Rui Hachimura, I would have done that to start game 2, because then they have to adjust in the game, as opposed to now you've got 48 hours to prepare for that defensive strategy by the Lakers.
And again, that worked for a quarter and a half. It was successful. But don't think that Coach Malone and the Nuggets are not going to adapt and adjust, and Jokic is not going to adjust to Rui. One thing that Jeff Van Gundy pointed out, and he's correct, I didn't like Aaron Gordon being at the hash mark because Anthony Davis was guarding him, and he could be that rim protector. You've got to keep Anthony Davis out of the paint to allow Jokic to go to work on Rui. He was bringing his man too close to him. If Gordon is out, Anthony Davis is not there, and you've got to trust your jump shot if you're Anthony Gordon.
I was telling people to start the show, a lot of times we'll watch basketball, but we watch highlights. It's rare when we sit down and watch a game, and maybe a game that may not have excitement written all over it, because Joker is not exciting. He's just a brilliant basketball player. But now, because the Lakers are in this, you're watching a full game. So now you get to see just how he does it, because he's not going to make the highlights on SportsCenter every night. Be a crisp bounce pass or maybe, a nice little, three-pointer. Now you're watching and you're going, damn, that's how he does it. And there's certain players, though, Reds, that you have to watch him in a game as opposed to you're watching a highlight and you're going, God, that guy's unbelievable. Kawhi Leonard's like that for me. When Kawhi was Kawhi, he didn't make the highlights because it'd be a nice 15-foot, foul line extended jumper at the end of the game or something. The Joker is kind of forcing people to watch exactly how he does what he does.
I would also throw probably Jimmy Butler in there too.
Yeah,
you're like,
playoff time.
Okay, yeah, I see it. And then when you watch a full 48-minute game of the Joker, Kawhi, Jimmy Butler, you learn to appreciate it. It's precision basketball when you're watching Nikola, because the best compliment that he's getting is during live action. And if you're looking at Twitter or reading things like that, you see other NBA players commenting like this is unbelievable. Like DeJounte Murray saying, how is this dude not a 3-time MVP? When your peers are commenting how great you are playing and the effect that you're having on the game, you're right. Sometimes it can be boring. People are used to dunks and the fancy passes and, jumping out of the gym. You're not going to get that with Jokic. What you're going to get is proper footwork, boxing out, precision passing, making free throws, rebounding in space, and great teamwork. And to me, that's coaches can appreciate that, and your teammates can appreciate that.
There's a Tim Duncan feel to his game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just kind of structured, not exciting, but extremely efficient. And, Tim a better defender, Jokic a better passer, but, sort of that footwork and, kind of systematic torture that they gave you. You look up and you go, wait, those are the numbers that he had? And there's some guys where you go, wait, he only had like 21 points? And there are other guys who have 30, and you go, how did he have 30?
Well, and again, you go back to guys that Tim Duncan had to go against. Kevin Garnett shaking his head, the best I've ever played against. Shaquille O'Neal, who got locked horns a lot with those Lakers-Spurs moments, shaking his head. Tim Duncan, and it's funny because we started off this segment talking about Victor. If I'm Pop, I'm bringing back Tim Duncan. Hey, every practice, every film session, come on back, because I want you to teach this young man everything that's in your brain.
We're talking to Reggie Miller. Be on the call tonight. It's game 1 in Boston at 8:30 Eastern on TNT. I'm wondering how the Heat steal this game, given that the Celtics just went through what they went through with the 76ers. And I saw where the ESPN analytics said Miami had a 3% chance to win this series. So you're doing the game. How does Miami steal this?
Jimmy Butler has to play like he played against Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, he was great to superb. He was fantastic. He absolutely carried them, and that's when Tyler Hero went down in that game one, and he just put the Heat on his back, and they just rode him to the finish line. He was good against New York, but other guys stepped up. I'm not telling him he has to have a historic 56-point night like he did against Milwaukee, but if he plays like that, and Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, they knocked down threes like they did in New York because those role players were great. If Jimmy Butler is great and those role players played like they played in that Knicks series, yes, they can steal game one and they can also win this series. The problem is you know what you're going to get with the Celtics. They've got the best defense and offense remaining of all the four playoff teams. They've got great depth off the bench, and they can play big with Robert Williams and Al Horford, or they can play small, bringing in Derek White. They got the sixth man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon, and the Heat don't have those bodies. Yeah. Hero gone. Victor Oladipo gone. So these other guys have to step up. They've got to make threes, which they weren't great during the regular season, but they've been very good in the playoffs. Can they continue to make threes? And they've got to turn over Boston. If they can turn over Boston, which they've done all playoff series in their games, and get off in transition before Boston can set their defense, they have a shot.
The best opening is in Milwaukee, Philly, or Phoenix.
Oof. Wow. Well, I don't know, KD, Booker, and you got the Valley of the Sun, Heat. If you're a coach, that's very attractive. But Milwaukee, you got Giannis, a two-time MVP, and Chris Middleton, who only played 50 games last year, and Holiday. To me, those are the two most attractive spots if you're a head coach.
Why did Doc Rivers get fired?
Look, I'm going to try to be positive here, Theodore. But look, unfortunately, players have guaranteed contracts, and the coaches will always be the first to go. Let me first start by saying that. Coaches are always first to go. But man, these players got to look themselves in the mirror. These guys, some of those players on that team, I'm not going to name names, are punks. They're punks. Come on, man. Doc is the fall guy. Very much the same way Monty Williams, to me, was the fall guy in Phoenix. These players got to look themselves in the mirror. I'm putting this on the players. I'm sorry.
If you could,
I just am.
If it was, you could keep James Harden or you could keep Doc Rivers, but you couldn't keep them both, who would you keep? Because it feels like that may be what this came down to. You keeping James Harden or Doc Rivers?
If I'm ownership group,
yeah.
I love me some James Harden. First ballot Hall of Famer.
You still love him?
I love him, but I'm keeping Doc Rivers.
Okay. I agree. I agree. First ballot Hall of Famer, and I have enjoyed watching him. But I would say, James, thank you. Some nice parting gifts here.
And it's not guaranteed that James is going to stay there.
No.
So you got rid of Doc.
Yeah.
You got rid of Doc, and James Harden still can leave.
Yeah, but they got to turn this over to Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. They have to be the two-headed monster in there, moving forward. All right, I'm running out of time, but I want to get your take. If I said to you, Ja Morant wants to sit down and talk, what would you talk to Ja Morant about right now? And nobody's going to hear you. This isn't on camera. This is you, and you're going to give him advice. What would you say to him?
I want you to look at your inner circle, and I want you to write a list down of all your boys, all your homies, right? And I want to look at them all, and I want you to burn it up right now. You've got a clean house, young man. And look, the people that he has surrounded himself with, and some of this could be family involved as well. You've got to look at the whole picture, my friend, and what you have and what you can achieve, and right now what's being taken away from you. Which life do you want to live?
But, Reg, you played with guys who you probably had conversations with that they were doing stupid things. And that didn't mean they stopped doing stupid things.
And look at them now. There's cautionary tales all throughout this league. There really is. You know, I can give you a handful of guys that I've played with or you've seen on other teams that have gone down this route. Where are they today? Ja Morant, before all this, was being painted as one of the faces of the new league, of these new up-and-coming young players. And now he's being vilified to his own doing. You're right? This is not us catching him doing something. This is him doing it on his own phone. He's self-induced all this.
Yeah. And it felt like the commissioner that this hurt him personally.
Yeah. Because you know what? We had a face-to-face.
Yeah.
We sat down and we locked eyes. And I felt that we were on the same page because the commissioner only wants success for the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja. And he felt the words coming out of Ja's mouth, and he believed them. And the old phrase, bamboozle, hoodwink, led astray. That's how the commissioner feels, and he feels embarrassed. That's why it'll probably be a heavy suspension coming the start of next season.
But could you imagine David Stern's approach as opposed to Adam Silver?
He's lucky David Stern isn't a hold of this. He's so lucky David Stern is not at the helm of this. He would have been given the Ron Artest. He would have been gone. He would have been given the Ron Artest treatment, which was unfair and unjust. Let me just say that for the brawl. But he would have been given that type of treatment.
Yeah, I always thought maybe I misread his personality, but Ron Artest seemed like he was a kid, like he was fun. And what happened in Detroit, like just that moment set him off. But you were there with him all the time. Like, how would you describe his personality?
He would have his moments where he would come in and out. But I felt I could always rein him in at times and showed him and told him the big picture of things about winning. And once he could focus in on just winning as opposed to I'm not getting this and I, and I could get him to focus on the we, he understood that. And I'm glad he turned things around and he got a chance with the Lakers to win a championship. And I hope some of those lessons that in those conversations we had in the locker room, on the plane rides, the bus ride, I think he understood the emphasis on we as opposed to the I.
And these kids come in, John thinks he knows everything at 23. Like, he's not going to listen to you. He'd be like, yeah, whatever, You're an old guy, man. I got to do what I got to do, man.
That's why old heads are so important on championship teams. Al Horford, that's why his presence is needed for the Celtics. Haslam, that's why his presence is valuable for the Miami Heat. DeAndre Jordan for Denver and LeBron for the Lakers. You've got to have old heads, guys that have seen and done, smelt, touched everything.
Hey, by the way, you get a chance to talk about Al Horford, future Hall of Famer tonight.
Are you happy about that? Because after that last game when he was 0 for 6, when you were texting during the game.
He might get a triple single tonight, Reg. I'm just saying. You might.
He's got the triple single going.
I think Al may give me 7 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Hall of Famer.
That's good, but that's good.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Because Tatum and Brown are doing all the heavy lifting.
Have fun tonight.
Appreciate you, Theodore. Love you, Dannette.
Reggie Miller, Hall of Famer, be on the call tonight. Boston, Game 1, 8:30 Eastern on TNT.